Temperatures this weekend, Fayetteville is activating its cold weather response. Part of that effort is the Collaborative Response for Extreme Weather, or CREW network. 5 News reporter Claire Everbach spoke with city leaders and organizations involved in this and has how it's helping people.
The CREW network brings together several local organizations to help unhoused individuals find shelter when the temperature feels like 15 degrees or lower. Leaders of this response tell me it's a group effort.
Fayetteville's Chief Housing Officer Marley Stark says multiple organizations in the area work together when the temperatures drop.
Seven Hills Homeless Center, Salvation Army of Northwest Arkansas, Genesis Church has been a really great partner as well, and then also the Northwest Arkansas Continuum of Care.
These organizations provide overnight shelter, warm meals, and other resources, including accommodations for people with pets.
Making sure we're stocked up on blankets or cots, purchasing new kennels if those need to be replaced, so that folks don't feel like they have to make a choice between getting shelter and having their animal with them.
The Northwest Arkansas Continuum of Care serves as a central agency coordinating this response across the region. Executive Director Quinn Emmett says their main role is to connect people with help.
We provide some logistical assistance, we provide some supplies, along with some cash assistance for some of the organizations that are helping to house our unsheltered neighbors. And then we also, again, act as a coordinating agency. And folks are free to call us at any time if they have questions or if they know of somebody that might need the assistance.
Emmett says cold weather is also when he sees the community step up to help, including an increase in volunteers.
Colder weather tends to bring out a lot of community concern, obviously, which is great. We want people to be concerned about our unhoused neighbors.
Stark says it's a team effort, and volunteers play a big part in making sure that people stay safe.
Not only community organizations coming together and the city coming together as part of that, but also I think community members coming together to make sure that people have options to stay safe and stay warm.
For those needing a place to stay tonight, the main check-in location for the cold weather response is Potter's House in South Fayetteville. That's located at 612 South College Avenue. You can also find more information about shelter resources and volunteering on our website, 5newsonline.com. Claire Everbach, 5 News.
Right now, we're working to learn more after a Pensacola police officer was arrested while on duty Friday. The LaFleur County Sheriff's Office confirms they were contacted by state authorities to assist in arresting Officer Todd France for several warrants, including harboring a fugitive and possession of a controlled substance. France was arrested without incident. We've reached out to state authorities and the Pensacola Police Department for more details. We'll update you online and on air as we learn more. Well, tonight, new information from Bentonville schools after a photo posted on social media showing a Bentonville school bus outside a Fayetteville Homeland Security office sparked conversation and concern. Tonight, Superintendent Dr. Debbie Jones sent an email to staff, families, and high school students with an explanation. In that message, Jones says students toured the Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI, office in Fayetteville as part of a forensics educational unit. She says HSI is in a different building than the one housing Immigration and Customs Enforcement. According to Jones, students were initially dropped off at the wrong building, told they were in the wrong place, then driven to the building housing HSI. She says, quote, "At no time did students witness any aspect of ICE operations, nor did they tour the site." You can read Jones's full message on our website. Just look for it inside this story on 5newsonline.com. Well, volunteers gathered this morning at the Fayetteville National Cemetery to take part in an annual wreath retirement effort. 5 News reporter Emily Moss has more.
Rows of wreaths, each one a symbol of service and sacrifice, are carefully removed from headstones at Fayetteville National Cemetery after marking the holidays on the graves of fallen veterans. Bringing together the community once more, volunteers continue the tradition of remembrance and respect.
If you speak someone's name that is deceased, they are never forgotten.
Jenny Lane is the founder of Bo's Blessings. She says remembrance doesn't end after the holidays, and each grave tells a story worth learning.
We encourage people that come out to take a snapshot of a headstone and research that soldier or that veteran and learn about the heroes that are buried here. My greatest hero is buried here. My son is buried here.
She adds that events like these help ensure future generations continue to honor those who served and are currently serving.
If we don't teach the next generation, our generation will be the last generation that recognizes, honors, and respects our veterans. and our military.
Covering news where you live, Emily Moss, 5 News.
Well, this is great news. After nearly 3 months of recovery, a Maysville volunteer firefighter is finally home. These are pictures the department shared to Facebook today. Colby Amos was seriously injured in a motorcycle crash back in November on his way to EMT training. He's been recovering in a Denver hospital for the past few weeks. The Grove, Oklahoma Veterans Group, along with the Red Knights Motorcycle Club, made up of firefighter bikers from across the country, rode in to welcome him back. Even local EMS crews joined in. They lined the route with handmade welcome home signs as the procession passed through town. Well, a local nonprofit hosted an event in Bentonville to help aspiring pilots get their licenses. Faith in Flight NWA is a faith-based community.
Really was just a vision. I was in aviation and I was, led by the Lord to post a video about it.
And I reached out to her over Facebook to try to, get involved because I sort of wanted to start an aviation ministry in my area too.
In world news tonight, a new threat from President Trump in the standoff over Greenland. The president says he'll impose a 10% tariff on Denmark and 7 other European nations opposed to his takeover plans. Today, thousands rallied in Denmark and Greenland to send Trump a message that the territory is not for sale. Reme Inocencio is tracking all the developments.
Today, rare anti-American anger rippled across the Kingdom of Denmark, a friendship forged over 225 years, now fraying as President Trump insists he must have Greenland. But also in Copenhagen, another rarity, a bipartisan group of visiting U.S. lawmakers saying the president does not speak for all Americans.
I hope that the people of the Kingdom of Denmark do not abandon their faith in the American people.
Denmark's former ambassador to NATO called the Trump White House ungrateful.
I'm angry because I think that this is an affront to an ally that has stood up with the U.S. In Afghanistan, in Iraq, all over the world.
Is the White House being imperial in its ambitions?
The need for control and the need to expand the U.S., that sounds very much like imperialism in my eye.
Europe is pushing back too. French President Emmanuel Macron committed French troops to Greenland on Friday as Operation Arctic Endurance gets underway with 8 European allies to patrol Greenland's Arctic lands, waters, and skies. In Nuuk, the capital, protests today as well, with anger focused on the tiny U.S. consulate and its 4 employees.
We are not interested in being Americans.
And a blunt message Trump's followers can understand. Make America go away. Reme Inocencio, CBS News, London.
Polls show about 85% of Greenlanders oppose their island joining the U.S., and Canada is watching with concerns, worried it could happen to them next. Relatives of detainees held a candlelight vigil overnight outside in Caracas, demanding freedom for prisoners. A rights group reported that 139 political prisoners have been released in Venezuela since early January. Families gathered with Venezuelan flags, banners, and photographs of detained loved ones, lighting candles and placing them in front of the ground in front of those images. Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, said on Wednesday that 406 people have been freed from prison as part of an ongoing release process. And the streets of Tehran are quiet once again, but evidence remains from the unrest from previous days. In the subsequent violent crackdowns, thousands have been killed, and President Trump has previously threatened to take action against the regime. And back here at home, protesters gathered in Fayetteville against the recent violence in Iran that targeted protesters. Members of the Iranian community in northwest Arkansas say the rally is meant to draw international attention to what analysts are calling the largest uprising in Iran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Organizers say the Iranian community here is small, but they feel a responsibility to speak for those who can't.
We don't want this, radical Islamic regime who are governing Iran for like 46 years right now, and the economy is so bad in Iran, many people cannot even afford buying enough meat, vegetables.
The group is calling for international support and a change in Iran's government, saying Iranians have been demanding freedom and democracy for decades. President Trump has officially commuted the federal sentence of James Womack, son of Arkansas Congressman Steve Womack. James Womack was arrested in September 2018. He faced nearly a dozen drug and firearm charges. James had previously been convicted of other drug-related charges, including one count of distributing more than 5 grams of meth and another of being a felon in possession of a firearm in 2023. James was later sentenced in federal court in 2024 to 8 years. He's now been granted 5 years of supervised release. Representative Womack released a statement saying, quote, "I'm grateful for President Trump for the gracious and thoughtful action. The commutation has allowed my son to be with his family during a profoundly difficult time. And the president's phone conversation with my wife and her care team made an impression that I'll cherish forever," end quote.